first job when I was 14. It was at Harvey's, the place that makes your hamburger a beautiful thing. And there was a regular that came in, and I took a liking to him. He was tall, dark, and handsome. And he was there every shift I worked. So kind of got to know him a little. Every break I would spend chatting with him. It was really convenient. He lived just up the street in a group home from doing B&Es, which is break and enters for anybody who doesn't know the lingo. And what better boyfriend material. So sure enough, we started dating, and I fell in love with this guy, my boyfriend. And the next thing I noticed was that I started changing my behavior. I started changing what I wore, how I did my hair, so that I could appease him and keep him happy. And when he wasn't happy, he would punch me. He would punch me in the stomach. And he was a bricklayer, so big guy. I had the wind knocked out of me several times, punched in the side of the head, the arm, the torso. But it didn't strike me as being odd or abnormal. It just was. It was my first relationship, so I thought, okay, this is the way relationships go. And my childhood had a violent environment as well. My mom walked around with black eyes. She tried to hide it with sunglasses, but she didn't do a very good job. There were other signs of violence, broken glasses. They weren't accidental smashings. Broken glasses in the wall units, bullet holes in the dresser. So being in an abusive relationship was normal. And it felt comfortable. Now I got a new job. It was at a delicatessen, a fine food store. It was right across from my high school, so I was super excited about it. And the first day on the job, my boyfriend waited for me. We were going to bus home together. And he sat and he watched me work from across the street in the dark. I was inside the brightly lit store with the big windows. And toward the end of my shift, he came in and he screamed at my coworkers. First day of my job. I quickly wrapped up. I apologized to my coworkers, and we left. We didn't bus home, we walked home. It was a lovely fall evening. It's a little bit of mist, and I had worn his big leather coat. It was the cool thing to do. I don't know if it still is cool to wear boyfriend's big coats, but because it was warm, I hung it over my arm, and as we walked, I tried to convince him that I needed to talk to my coworkers, even if they were men. And he could not understand that, and I couldn't understand his position, being that I shouldn't be talking to guys. And what happened next, I wasn't even really consciously aware of. We approached my apartment, and I lightly placed my coat over top of the fire hydrant, and I reeled my arm back and I let it fly straight into his face. I broke his nose, blood gushed everywhere, and I gave him 2 black eyes. I did feel a little bit bad. We ended up walking home, and I took my mom's car, and then I went to drive him back to his place. He didn't retaliate. He was either in too much pain or too much shock. So I went away to university, and I realized that there were lots of tall, dark, and handsome men who liked me and who didn't hit me. And so after 6 years, I ended that abusive relationship. Now, university passes, and my next relationship, I went to the extreme opposite. I fell in love with a man who was very gentle, very soft-spoken, very passive, and I was determined to marry this guy. This was the one for me, absolutely. And despite kind of little hunches here and there saying, that's not the one, I shut that up. Nope, I'm marrying this guy. This is the one for me. My wedding day, I bawled. It was more than cold feet. It was knowing that it just was not meant to be. But we got married, and shortly after we had a son together. And when my son was 6 months old, we had been married less than a year. Sure enough, we divorced. But not to worry, because I attracted my normal again. The comfort of abuse. Ah, this feels good. It wasn't physical abuse, but it was mental, emotional, sexual, verbal. No less easier to endure than physical abuse. And I stayed in it for 20 years with my friend. And we had a daughter together. My son adored him, called him dad. It was perfect. But I was miserable. I was sick faithfully twice a year with severe strep throat. Just kept suppressing it. My friend Marvin here kept suppressing it. Low energy, didn't smile, frequent emotional outbursts. But gosh, I didn't want to hurt the kids. I just had to. I lived my mom's legacy. She stayed in the relationship for the kids for 25 years. The wonderful thing is, our bodies do not lie. I got extremely ill for 2 weeks. My appendix had ruptured and it stuck to my intestine. So it slowly poisoned me, just like my relationship was. After a week-long rough recovery in the hospital, I came home. 1 month later, I made that choice to leave. What happened after that has been nothing but miraculous. It was very scary. What was going to happen? I stepped into the unknown. Miracles have happened since then. I completed my spiritual life coach certification, and I learned amazing things like I have boundaries. What is that? Wow. I learned that I have a mind that will tell me things to keep me feeling safe, to keep me feeling normal, to keep things in control. And that's my mind's job. I also learned that we have subconscious programming and patterns that run our lives. And half the time we're not even aware of them. So we're walking and talking and we're not even knowing what we're doing half the time, unless we pay conscious attention to it. Then I delved a little deeper into bioenergetic medicine. And what I learned through that is that our body gives off signals, this energy. Some of it feels awesome and some of it feels not so awesome. And when life is happening around me, I feel what's happening in my body. I don't go looking at, what did that person say? Well, what did they say? Well, this is why I'm upset. It's their fault because they said this. So I come into my body and I feel where that anxiety is, that tension, that tightness, that stinging. And I breathe love, breath, focused attention into those spaces. And I grow into it. And miraculously, things just dissolve on the outside. Absolutely, my struggle was necessary to get me where I am today. Absolutely. But if I would have come within and focused on the energy that was going on in my body and listened to my body, the struggle wouldn't have happened. I would have learned the lesson, learned that energetic lesson and freed that energy before the struggles happened. Like my friend Marvin here, I'm 86. I've got so much energy. I'm bursting with love, with joy. And it's not that anything outside of me is changing. It's that I come in here when something out there is going on. I resolve what's going on in here, and this goes away. It's happening for me. So yeah, struggle is necessary until it's not. Thank you.